Now we're going to go over the stretch tool. To get to the stretch tool, of course, if you're in your drawing workflow, up here at the top, go to your home ribbon. Over here, manipulate. It's in this last row. Second tool down. It's called stretch. I'm going to select it. This tool will allow you to go out and stretch elements out if you need to. Up here in this earthwork quantity block, well, it looks like they put in some text and it doesn't quite fit in the quantity block. So if I want to stretch these horizontal lines out to get all this text inside the quantity block, I can do that. So all I have to do is go up and left click somewhere above all the elements I want to stretch. So I'm just going to left click up here somewhere. So I'm going to go up here and left click a little bit above what I want to stretch. Come down through here and I want to stretch all of these horizontal lines out, and I want to be able to move that vertical line. If I get that whole vertical line, it'll move it out with it. So if this is kind of the area I want, I'll left click to accept it. It will draw a green block out there for me so I can kind of tell what I'm wanting to stretch. Now I need to enter a first point to start my stretch. I'm going to come back down to my snapping and turn on my nearest snap. I could use AccuDraw and lock in the axes, but I'm just going to snap to a line. So I'm going to snap somewhere up on this horizontal line here because I'm going to stretch it horizontally. I'm going to left click to start my stretch. You can see as I'm snapping to this horizontal top line, it's kind of moving it in the horizontal axis I want, and it's staying horizontal. So now once I get it dragged out as far as I want, I'm just going to left click to drop it off, and I have my stretch. If that's what I want, I'm going to right click and reset, and it stretched my elements. But that's what the stretch tool does. If I do an undo real quick, and then I go out and use my stretch tool again, the one thing you want to be careful about is when you're stretching, if you include some other origin points of items, it's going to move and stretch those items as well. So I'm just going to make a big block and show you what it'll do. And if I'm not snapping on a horizontal direction, I'm just going out and dynamically doing it, you can see it's kind of moving it at an angle as well. If I drop that off, it's going to stretch those elements, but it's going to move them off that horizontal axis, and that's probably not what you want to do. So I'm going to do an undo. I'm going to reset my tool. If this isn't the area I want to stretch, I'll just come back out to my screen. I'll left click again, just drag my stretch back out where I want it. Now I can go back in and stretch that again. Of course, I'm using my nearest snap and I'm snapping to this horizontal line. I drag it out to where I want it. Left click to accept it. It'll stretch that item. Now I can just right click to reset my tool. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in to this intermediate bent down here. So now maybe instead of these bent steps down here being 9 foot, maybe there was a design change. Maybe now they're 9 feet 6 inches. If I turn on my Civil AccuDraw, I can stretch a little more accurately. So I'm going to come down to Civil AccuDraw. I'm going to check that on. And then I'm going to turn on my DX and DY mode. Now if I go back up to my stretch tool, it's going to ask me to define my fence block. So I'm just going to grab this whole first step and somewhere in the middle on the second step. So now if I want to move it 6 inches, I'm just going to go out here and snap to this line somewhere. Doesn't really matter. But I'm going to drag it off in the left direction. For my DX, I'm going to hit 0.5, lock that in. For my DY, I'm going to keep it 0, lock that in. If that's what I want, I'll just left click to accept it, and you can see it stretched that bend out 6 inches. I can do right click to reset it. I could do it on this first step now if I wanted. I'm going to go out and define my fence. I'm going to go out here, left click somewhere, drag it out to the left, enter 0.5 in my DX, hit enter to lock it in, 0 in my DY, enter to lock that in, left click to accept it, right click to reset it, and it stretched both of those bent steps 6 inches. And that's how the stretch tool works.